Hi everybody, this is Valley with Emmanuel, sitting here on the beach at Roots on Denman Island, and we just finished an incredible week of training.
Yeah.
Had a lot of insights, a lot of questions coming from students, and probably one of the most common one, and Emmanuel, maybe you can share some of your insights on training alone for people who either come and train and then don't necessarily have access to a partner or a training group or a qualified instructor. So, and regardless, most of us do spend some time training alone, whether you do have access to partners. So can you share some of your insights on that?
Of course, Valley Thirst. Thank you. It was a wonderful seminar. I really had a ton of fun teaching it. And like you said, it is a very common question where people say, how do I train when I don't have access to a partner? And I will agree that it's very challenging to do so. So we got to acknowledge that right away. But the interesting part of that is that I do a lot of training on my own as well. So, and even though I have access to classes every day, I still find it's very important to find time to train on your own. Meaning every student knows the things that they have to work on. So, and then you make time in your own day to work on the things that you need to work on. So I go to class, I train, whether it's at the Fight Club or up at HQ headquarters, and the classes show me the things I need to work on, and then I have to do that on my own. Now, getting back to students' perspective, if you don't have access to a teacher, you're basically on your own and trying to work with Systema, try to understand that training in groups is only part of the equation. So it's a delicate balance of you learn by reading, you learn by watching videos, you learn by doing, you learn by listening, you learn in many different ways, and you don't need to over-focus on not having a partner. So there's some great books out there to read on Systema. There's some wonderful articles coming out of all kinds of Systema schools that are posting stuff. There's wonderful videos and access to videos, and from those videos you can get lots of inspiration on how to train on your own. I mean, there's no need to sit there and hit yourself or do those kind of things, but there is a lot of good material and a lot of work that's needed without a partner anyway. So instead of over-focusing on not having a partner, focus on the things that you can do. So the breath work, the physical training in terms of like the push-ups, the squats, the leg raises, all those attributes are present. And there's so many wonderful ideas in all the books that I've ever read. I mean, Vlad, Konstantin, even myself, we usually put tons of material out there. A lot of it you can do on your own. So my suggestion would be that don't over-focus on just not having a partner. Make sure you read all the material that's out there, whether it's the books or the articles or the blogs. Make sure you're watching videos from many different instructors that get a good perspective. And then just look at your everyday life and integrate it into your life. I've often heard the term, any injury that you have is like a grab. So it's like somebody's grabbed you. So if I've hurt my elbow, then that's like a grab against my elbow. And studying how to not let that injury grab me anymore and free myself from this. And the same in life. You might be in a job that you don't like very much, or maybe it's not your dream, but it's somehow grabbing you and it's holding you somehow. And studying how to free yourself from this. That doesn't mean quit. That means not letting it affect you so much. And then there's all the worries that we have in life, regardless of your situation in life. We all have worries, and those become like our natural opponents, and you have to learn how to deal with them.
Very cool. Okay. Speaking of similar topic, what do you feel is the percentage? Because as we know, a lot of students just are focusing on the martial, which is the entry gate. Well, how much of your training is supposed to revolve around the martial aspect of it?
Oh, okay, it's a big question. It's a good question. It's a big question. For myself, I believe the martial art aspect really only represents maybe 20%. You have everything that Systema can do for a person, and the martial aspect is basically only 20%. Think of your life. You don't, in hindsight, you don't fight that much. It's not even a single percent. If I look my entire life, I've had what? Let's say, I'll gather everything, 10 really good fights, but I'm almost 50 years old. and each fight maybe lasts at most 1 minute. That would be high end. So 10 minutes in relation to 50 years. But I spend every day living my life, whether it's raising my kids and with my wife, and training people at the fight club, and dealing with my parents and all the family and friends that I have, and being supportive and helpful to all these people. I mean, there's Systema of everything. There's Systema of your family. There's Systema of work. There's Systema of your hobbies, right? There's Systema of your dear friends. Those dear friends sometimes are closer than family in many ways, right? So you have a big look that you have to, a big consideration is that it's not only the martial art. It is a part, and we kind of use it as a template. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a hobby, like somebody likes to go cycling. So you say to yourself, in martial arts, there's wrestling, and it's quite difficult, and it's very strong and physical. For cycling, it might be climbing up a hill. That's like wrestling. You're climbing up a big hill, and you have to fight with that hill to get up it. Or any aspect, or every cyclist has an injury they're dealing with, just like we might deal with an injury in martial arts. So you could actually live entire Systema through a hobby that you have. It could be anything, any hobby that you can find Systema in it. For sure in a family, 100%. The way you interact with the family. Every family has to fight. Every family has worries and disagreements. And how do you do that? How do you deal with those things? It's exactly how you deal with your training partner. Same thing. So so I would say a modest 20%. I wouldn't go much more than that. For some people, it could be a considerable amount less. I would think 20% would be as high as I would go with it.
Awesome. Well, Emmanuel, thanks so much for your time on this. Looking forward to asking more questions and having you back here sometime as soon as possible.
Awesome.
All right.